Austin,
Yes.
I have been simply having a wonderful Christmas time.
Wonderful Christmas time.
Man, that song has been stuck in my head for the entirety of December. As we record this, it is New Year's Eve. Do you have big plans for New Year's? You going to ring it in style?
Maybe going to the certain other store later to get some certain other drinks.
Oh, that stove. The old liquor store. I don't think we're doing anything. We're going to be very boring. There is talk of Fortnite, which on the hour every hour is doing a New Year's thing because it's worldwide. Today on the pod, because New Year's will be past and we'll all feel better, post drinky drinks by the time you guys hear this. We're doing a Grotmas roundup of winners and losers. So in my effort to just do sports radio podcasting, we're going to do winners and losers, which is a very popular thing when sports teams do trades or drafts or various things. And the Grotmas Detachments, the 24 days of Grotmas Detachments was kind of that sort of thing where everybody got a little something, and some of them were really good and some of them were not as good. And without getting too in the weeds of what's what and who's who, we're going to talk about that. I've got losers, you've got winners, but before we get to that, we've got to open up the Vox channel and read your comments. These are comments.
Vox channel.
These are comments coming from YouTube. This first one is from the homie Craig. This is Craig of the various seasonal invitationals on our pod on YouTube on our top 3 least favorite wargaming mechanics. My big bugaboo in that one was I don't like alternating activation, and I asked for you all to give me some activation sync methods that you know of that I don't. And Craig says Star Wars Legion has pass tokens to deal with the whole I go you go thing. If you're down by 3 units, you get like 3 pass tokens where you can put off your activation until later in the sequence. So I guess that's fine. Yeah, pass tokens. Okay. Over here, we've got the same pod, Paradukes, who's a frequent commenter and often listener. We appreciate him. I'm going to read just a portion of what he's talking about. He's talking about I go, you go versus alternating. He's a fan of alternating, it seems. He says, for all the complaints about alternating activations, it does cut down on one of the problems I have with Warhammer, long periods of time when I may as well not be there. If I don't have anything reactive that I can do, there's going to be a long stretch of time during the opponent's movement phase where I can pretty much just bugger off for a while until they're done. He continues on and makes some other good points. For him, I like the pace of I go, you go. I mean, sometimes people are just really slow or they're measuring too careful, and when that happens, I'm just like, hey man, just I trust you,
Yeah.
I'm kind of talking to the other people at the game store. If we're at the game store, if we're at my house, I'm looking around at my models, hanging out, looking at their models, that sort of thing. I never find there's a lack of stuff to do, and if somebody is really dragging along, then I'm like, hey, come on, I trust you. I'm watching. If a guy's
to be honest.
Yeah, if a guy's supposed to move 6 and you all of a sudden jump him across the board, I'm gonna be like, hey, what are you doing? But until then, it's not that serious.
I get in the game store, talking to people, talking to passerbys, just messing around, going to the bathroom. It takes away some of the, I guess, mental stress of trying to process the game.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big old complicated game.
Bit.
Yeah,
But if you're there for like 3 or 4 hours playing a 2K game, people are playing it that long. Just a bit of a downtime helps.
Yeah, I agree. And nothing's stopping you from getting clocks. People sure pick it up when you get that clock going. Previous podcast host Zach, he will do, or Casey, he will do a lot of thinking about what he's going to move before he ever moves anything. I'm like, man, sometimes you just got to throw some stuff out and see how it starts shaking out.
He'd always try to move models, and he'd try to look at my face for my reaction. I'm just there standing, and he's like, "Oh man, you got the greatest poker face ever." I'm like, "I'm just standing here."
I'm just waiting on you to do you.
Yeah. Quit knocking me out.
Hey, I believe congratulations to Casey. I think, I mean, all goes well that he will have another little one. Possibly already does at time of recording, which is very exciting.
Baby.
That's right, Schrodinger's baby at this point. It's either in or out or both, I think. I don't know. But shout out to Casey. Our thoughts are with him and his wife, and that all goes well with that. But that is the Vox channel where we read your comments. Comment on Spotify, comment on YouTube. We get quite a few on YouTube, very few on Spotify. Also, while you're at it, subscribe to the video, like the video, and if you're on Spotify, give us a 5-star review because that helps people to find us if they search Spotify for any sort of hobbying podcast. Because why wouldn't you want to be 40K Fanatics with us? Now, next part of the show, our Bits Box, where we talk about what we've done in the hobby this week. Open it up, Austin. What have you done in the hobby this week, sir?
Well, I think I did my most hobbying within the past 15 minutes. Before doing the podcast, I was picking up my painting supplies and hauling them over to this new place I'm at. Just trying to get back into the process with the new year. New Year's resolution, trying to get back in churning out models.
Yeah, I wish you churned a little faster.
I've been on a downturn.
You
unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah, you have two things working against you on churning out models. One, the models are very, very small, which sounds like it'd be helpful, but there's very, very many of them. I was working last night. I got back from another trip the other day for work that involved a 8-hour car drive that started at 1:00 in the morning. That was fun. So I've been recovering from that odyssey, and I did get out the Possessed and got all the trim and all of the bone colors done on them, and I will send you pictures so that you can include them in the YouTube for that. And maybe you'll put a picture of your painting area. You can always check out the stuff we've been working on Wednesdays for Whip Wednesday on X at 40K Fanatics Podcast. We've got a blue check mark and everything, so that if I talk S in your comments on your post, you probably see it.
Oh yeah.
But that's all I've got for the Bits Box.
Short Bits Box this week.
Short Bits Box. Sometimes
we have a massive topic.
We do have a big topic, and we're going to try our best to keep all of this straight. Before we get into the main topic, we do have, and this needs to be included in the title of the pod, we got a Primarch reveal since the last time that we spoke.
Oh yeah, we do.
Fullgrim is here in the 41st millennium.
He is here in the flesh, in the snakeskin, doing his thing, whatever they do. We can't talk about it on this PG-13 podcast.
That's right. Yeah, all of Slaanesh is a little bit just, we all know what they do and acknowledge what they do and cannot get into it much further than that. But what did you think of the model? Because we've not seen any rules yet.
Okay. He's a bit of a downgrade from the Horus Heresy model, I think, in my opinion.
So I disagree that it's a downgrade. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's not necessarily a downgrade saying he's worse. I'm just saying he's more of a toy.
Yes.
He's toy grim, which works for 40K when you have a he's mass consumption Fullgrim, whereas Forge World is artisan Fullgrim.
Yeah, and I think that all the Primarchs in Forge World have been that way, where they're these big, they're all on big tactical rock based things. They're all posed crazy. They're insanely detailed. They're very expensive because many of them are resin. I don't know if Fullgrim was or not.
Yeah. He's resin.
Okay. Yeah, with those big old wings. That's got to be fragile. Shout out to Christmas Story. I know you all watched it. So I don't see it as a downgrade though, because what I think they did is stylistically. I mean, because we're talking about the pose. The pose is less dynamic. In the Forge World one, in the 30K one, he's very, he cuts a very unique silhouette. And in the new one, I feel like they very intentionally posed him similarly with his wing position, especially like the other Daemon Primarchs. Because there's been the picture going around of Mortarion, Angron, and Magnus and Fullgrim all in one shot, and they look like a set. Like, I believe that Games Workshop can do anything they want with plastic kits these days. I'm working on these possessed. They are, I mean, on one hand, you can get mad they're monopost kit. On the other, they're so much more dynamic, and the detail is so high, even in places that you don't even need any detail, because of the way they're able to cut up these sprues and cut up these models to get them on the sprue. It's really impressive. So I think it was totally a stylistic thing, and I like it because I don't think it'd be cool if you had some of your other Daemon Primarchs of 40K, and then you had this odd man out Fullgrim. If they had just said, "Hey, we're gonna have a plastic 30K version, and that's gonna be the 40K Fullgrim." I like he's got multiple faces. I think that's awesome. They painted their whole ass off on his box art / promotional photos.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, it's so funny. I don't know. I don't have Warhammer Plus or Warhammer TV or whatever it is because I don't really think that there's all that much value to a lot of that media that they do. But it seems like the heavy metal painting crew of theirs, and I feel like they're getting away from that sort of consumable, teachable style that used to be something that it seemed like they talked about more, is that the painting tutorials, they didn't, but they theoretically, it's like, this is how you paint this stuff the way we do. I think that's all out the window these days. It seems like every model that comes out, especially Age of Sigmar models, it's just grown-ass man stuff that they're doing on these paint jobs, on these box arts.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to go.
They really stepped it up.
Yeah, you've got to go elsewhere than the sort of GW specific painting tutorials to get that information. You've got to go pretty far abroad to do the stuff that they're doing, because they clearly have some masters.
I just want to make this point here. I think that's kind of a double-edged sword when doing that on products, because I feel like if you go the one way, you can look at it and say, well, this is going to sell more products if it looks good. But the counter to that is that this is a product where the consumer opens it and it's like a blank slate basically, and they have to do it themselves. So it might kind of alter their expectations on what they can achieve.
Yeah,
theirs isn't going to look like that.
That's true. I'm of two minds about that. Like, on one hand, I see exactly what you're saying. On the other, I think that just getting a, like, you have your sort of 3 colors and some basing crap, right?
Yeah.
And so many people, it feels like that is a mountain that they climb just to get to there. And I don't think that those folks have any, like, I don't think they have any delusion about what they're doing. And so if they get a big Daemon Primarch, it just ends up however it ends up, because they're not actually they're not actually practicing anything. They're not trying to expand as painters. And then the people that are trying to expand as painters to paint to the highest level and to, build that muscle, I like to think that that's what I try to do. You know, you pretty quickly get to where a level where you know how the sausage is made, and you can tell looking at that Fullgrim, it's like, okay, that is real serious stuff that I don't know anyone personally that could do type thing, you know? And that's okay. Because, you know, your own personal standard for Daemon Primarch painting may be, you know, less intricate, but still fine. I just think that, you know, we get into the mentality of different types of painters. And however, as someone who's interested in painting at a high level, I like seeing them go full out. So I really appreciated that. And you notice every time we ever talk about new models, the first things I tend to talk about are the paint jobs in the promotional material. It's some of my favorite part, even more so than the sort of content of the new models. You know what I'm saying? Like I see all these Necromunda models and stuff, and I don't care anything about Necromunda. I play Judge Dredd for my Necromunda, you know, take cool test skirmish games, but they sure paint the heck out of them. Anyway, let's get on to our main topic: winners and losers of the Grotmas calendar. It's a top 3 list. So I've got 3 losers, you've got 3 winners. So I'll go first. That way we end with a winner. I've got a bonus fry here, which is a winner.
Oh yeah,
I do. I have a winner that I want to encroach upon your list. And it may be on your list, but I don't know. We did discuss how you would leave me a hole for this, but do you have any OLI?
I have one.
You have one outside looking in? Okay, then let's knock out both of ours. So my one winner that I had to make mention of is Chaos Demons. Now, I have just 10 minutes before we recorded this seen some results of Grotmas Detachment performance. And one of these is very, very good, which is the Slaanesh one, which, you know, Fulgrim's coming out. You know, these sorts of things don't very much surprise me. But the Chaos Demons, I think, are a huge winner in the Grotmas calendar because they got 4 detachments. They got the Mono Demons. It begs the question, what is going to be in the Chaos Demon Codex? Because I kind of feel like they've just done the thing. Like, I could see it being 6 detachments, 4 Mono Demons, a catch-all, and then maybe a monster mash where you take all 4 greater demons or whatever. Or, and I think this is probably what happens, is they end up changing all this shadow, or what's it called? Whatever their army rule is, where they have like this, they take over chunks of the board. I could see that being adjusted somehow because it functions kind of funny.
Yeah.
So that may be what happens with the Chaos Demon Codex. But right now, I mean, I thought that was a huge drop, getting 4 detachments for whatever flavor of demon you like. And then the Slaanesh one's very powerful. So the homie Valerie is going to like that, as she is slowly working on a Slaaneshi demon army.
Now, it's always fun when they divide the demons up into their own unique playstyles.
See, I always think that the demons don't come together. In my headcanon, I could be wrong. I don't read the books. Casey was the lore master on this stuff. He reads the books and keeps up. But I always felt like that wherever a demon is working, he's like, hey, this is my court right now. Everybody back off. That seems like the chaos god sort of thing. Like, they don't want to do a lot of teaming up, or am I wrong? Do you know?
Well, there's like the great game. It's like all the gods are playing like chess against each other, 4-way chess. And then you have some of the gods will team up with each other to take down a specific one and then backstab each other once they get to a point where they could win. Is nature of chaos is self-defeating in that way.
Right.
No one can ever be on top.
It's a circular firing squad.
Yeah. It takes a very specific circumstance to where they can put everything down to team up. It'd have to take like a specific unifying force.
Yeah, that's why Abaddon is such a big deal, where he's allowed to operate in I guess with the blessing of all four. But anyway, what's your OLI? Your outside looking in to your top 3 winners list.
So my outside looking in is the Deathwatch detachment, the Deathwatch army, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
The fact that Deathwatch are back after seemingly being killed off by agents of the Imperium.
Yeah, that was a huge one. I mean, I said to the homie Craig, because he's got all the Deathwatch, and I said, "Aren't you glad you're not a model burner? You know, the folks that want to burn their Nikes or burn their models, or just make some display for TikTok." Which, as a recording, that thing has not been banned in the U.S., and I just can't wait for the day when it is. Get out of here with TikTok. How old do I sound right now?
I don't want to go on my TikTok tangent.
Okay, we'll be here all day. So I'm going to start. That way we end with a winner. That's right, isn't it? Yes. My first loser of the Grotmas detachments. Now look, some of these may end up fine, but these to me, the theme of these is that they just don't seem like they're super fun or that they make a lot of sense. All right? There could be synergies in the enhancements and the stratagems and with units. I don't play every army in 40K. I'm a one army kind of guy, and I'm a multiple game kind of guy. But I love to play against all of them. So I have seen a lot of these work, and I did do the other half of this, which is look up the army rules to familiarize myself with what's going on, because these are just attachments. We must remember that the army rule is critical. But the very first one is AdMech. I feel like that they are the first loser because they recently had their entire army rule rejigged, and it's complicated. So every command phase, you pick a couple of things, and various units get these various buffs, right? So you decide. It's kind of like your doctrines and things, but then it's doctrines and things, except different units get different stuff. And so you've got this big, chunky paragraph to keep up with. And the new detachment they got, the new spheric transference.
Yeah.
Depending on the battle size, you get to select a couple of units in your command phase every time to get a Halo override, which I don't even know. I guess this is a control Halo sort of thing that these guys have attached to themselves. And then you get to give them various abilities that you then select, and you've got 4 to select. So every command phase, you're taking your whole army and you're saying, okay, well, these guys are getting this, and these guys have this, and these guys have that. All right, so here's that. And then also I've got 2 units that I select, and then they have these things. And it feels like you're flying a spaceship to me. And that just doesn't seem super fun. Like it's a shame. I kind of like it too. And you play guard, so I could see how that doesn't feel terribly daunting to you. Imagine
different kind of orders.
Yeah, it's a different kind of orders, but orders with keywords I feel like are always weird, where stuff with a certain keyword does a different thing than other stuff with a certain keyword. You see what I'm saying? I feel like that becomes a bit of a complication. And it just seems like a lot of bookkeeping. So that's my first loser. I think it's a bit of a shame that the Grotmas detachment is, do you like bookkeeping? Well, we've got more.
I want to say I like this detachment lore-wise too, because I always thought it was neat how the mechanic is like overlords, the leaders and stuff. They can basically upload new orders and stratagems into their little Skitarii guys' minds. Kind of like they're kind of like battle droids from Star Wars, but like with flesh.
Yeah,
well, they have like the Trade Federation ship and everything. I like that. I like that kind of plays into that idea.
Yeah, no, I mean I get it. I just think when the rubber hits the road and you're trying to play the game, it just seems like a lot to keep track of.
I guess you're just over there like smashing stuff with Chaos Space Marines, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just lethal or sustained. What's your toughness? All right then, decision made. Give me a winner.
Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to start off with the Iconoclast Fiefdoms from Imperial Knights.
Ooh, okay. What does it do?
Or Fiefdoms. So what it does is it allows you to take Chaos Knights and damned units. You know more about what
Oh,
actually
yes.
constitutes damned units. So like cultists, Traitor Guard.
Yes, basically cultist and Traitor Guard, a cursed cultist, little nothing peons.
Little minions.
Little minions.
Yeah. And it allows the Chaos Knights to you do a dark sacrifice and pick one damned unit nearby them, and I think they pass a leadership test. If it's passed, you basically sacrifice E3 of those models. If failed, more of them die. But you basically sap a little bit of your guys to power up your knights to allow them to do certain benefits. I think it's like lethal hits or sustained. I think it's both, actually.
I love this. I love it. Here's
so
go ahead.
Oh, I just want to say it's a twofold bonus. First, you get the obvious benefit of boosting your knights for combat. But the other thing is that knights have always, ever since their inception, had trouble playing the objective game, and they've had to basically bring in other guys as allies in either soup list or recently with trying to
take one big knight, and a bunch of tiny ones.
Big knight. Yeah. But now you get a detachment that comes with your screens built in, your screens, your objective holders. You get all that built in. So I think it's like this is the knight detachment now.
I love the idea that there are all these little dudes and they're running around and they've worshipped chaos and they've got here on this battlefield. The knights have shown up and they're stomping through them. They're sucking their souls out of their body up into their weapons.
Yeah, I can just see like cultists like going around the knights being like, "Take me, my lord, take me."
It's great. It's just great. It's so great. Also, and we'll see if this gets FAQ'd immediately, but it does not specify in that Grotmas detachment that those have to be your damned units. So if you're playing Chaos Knights versus Chaos, you can suck up their cultists too, which I think is brilliant.
Once again, we're going to get into the argument of rules as read versus rules as intended.
I think if you're chaos playing chaos against Chaos Knights, then that's the you know, who I can never remember who hates who in the old world, but you know, that's the whoever hates goblins fighting goblins.
Yeah.
I think it's great. And also, look, as a Chaos Space Marine player, I don't care nothing about this cultists. All they do is stick down the home objective. And if you've got a knight back there, I've got bigger problems than you eating up my cultists. Because here's the other thing: you're going to eat them up anyway. I hope they keep it because it's a hilarious edge case. I've got another loser, and again, these are like our opinions, man. So, you know, if I've got your army in one of your detachments in my losers bracket, it's my list. You can make your own list. Give us your winners and losers of Grotmas detachments down in the comments below. This one is Astra Militarum.
Yeah, I can see that.
And the only the best detachment. All right, so it's such a weird one to me. It makes Tempestus Zion's battle line, and it gives infantry reroll hit rolls of 1 on ranged attacks. And if they showed up on the battlefield this time, they add +1 to wound. What it is, though, is an effort to play Astra Militarum infantry as though they're elites. Which, you know, you're still going to be able to take your tanks. I believe your army rule is giving the orders, right? Or no?
Yes.
Okay, so you still have ways to buff your tanks and your guys and all that, but all of the detachment leverage, the stratagem leverage, is based on dudes on foot, dudes running around.
So
what
this list is this is the commandos list.
Yes.
This is about your scions coming in from like drop ships and everything, coming in, doing tactical operations. And scions are, I don't know if you know what they're armed with. They're armed with more advanced las guns, so they have like AP to them, and they have the special weapons. They got meltas and plasmas. So this is, scions are the elite guard. They have more elite stuff going on. So it's not like you're just taking Cadians and getting all these rules. You're taking the scions. So this is like G.I. Joe going in.
Yeah, and it makes the Scions battle lines, so you can take even more of them. It's a funny one to me because I took a cursory glance over the stratagems and the enhancements, and it's a lot of buff this character, move these guys around, help these, have these guys fight on death, that sort of thing. Stuff that you see with infantry tuned Space Marine detachments and things like that. Like I say, it seems like it gives you the option to play some guard dudes as elite infantry, which I think is fine. It's in the loser's bracket for me just because I don't think that, at the end of the day, it's still a whole lot of low toughness, one wound dudes that are just gonna be getting shredded in mass.
They have better armor, I will say that.
Do they? That's good.
Yeah, I think they have a 4-up save.
Yeah, 4-up save. As somebody who likes to take a lot of booted Space Marines, the 4-up save sounds rough because that 3-up save gets eaten up in against all these tanks that people want to tank. Which, of course, you can still take your tanks, but that one got in my loser list just because I thought it's a good idea, but I think you would have to talk to your opponent about what if we did XYZ. You could get in a situation where those guys just keep dropping in and keep getting shredded.
Yeah. I would actually have put that in my losers list if I would have done it, just because of how straightforward it felt. Because I knew when guard were going to get a detachment, I was like, well, they're probably going to get a scions detachment. I thought it was the most least offensive guard detachment they could have done, so I was kind of bored with it.
Yeah.
What I would have liked to see come out of left field, I don't know, it could be done very well, but do a cavalry detachment.
Yeah, a cavalry detachment would be neat. I imagine we're going to see that in the book when it comes out because we've already got the horses that you have that look sort of Mongolian, and then we've got the new Krieg horseback dudes coming. There is no doubt there's going to be a mounted focused detachment in the new book.
I was just disappointed because we got so many out of left field detachments going on with Grotmas that this just kind of felt like it was too easy.
Yeah, it absolutely did. I tell you the other thing too, and this is another theme that is about to come up with my number one loser on my list, is some of these Grotmas detachments I think were written before that last balanced data slate because the Tempesta Scions were much more spicy when they could drop within 3 inches, and now across the board you cannot do that. You have to go 6 inches away, which takes away the Melta. It also takes away the ability, in any case, to drop directly onto an opponent's objective and just steal it by massive bodies. So that's really nerfed them. So even if you had 60 of them or whatever, they're not as handy as they were, 2 weeks before it came out. But what is your next winner?
My next winner is the Warrior Bioform Onslaught from Tyranids.
Yeah, so tell me about this one. This one it was a missing spot in their codex, right? This is Oops All Warriors.
Yeah, this is Oops All Warriors. I'm not really familiar with everything Tyranids have, but this one stood out to me with the detachment rule, Leader Beast. What this does is it gives Tyranid warriors and winged Tyranid prime units from your army have a 5+ invuln save. That was big when I saw that. I was like, oh my gosh. Because warriors are already fairly tough as they come for like infantry, but if you stack a 5+ invuln on them, they just become a whole lot tougher.
Yeah, and you know, the warriors are funny because the way I understand it is they were, you know, they're the Terminator equivalent of the Tyranid, and they had no invuln at all. And that's not cool, because the whole way the Terminators end up being this unstoppable force for all Space Marines is that 4+ invuln. Okay, you put a bunch of it into me. The AP doesn't really matter. I'm 50-50 on these saves, theoretically. And sometimes it doesn't feel that way as your Terminators die in mass for no apparent reason. But, you know, I think everything needs to have, you know, every faction needs to have one of those units, and it's good that the Tyranids have got it there, especially on something cool, because those dudes do look cool. Bone swords. Yeah,
and then all the stratagems are for the warriors or warrior adjacent stuff, and just boosting them, because warriors, you've got melee warriors and you got ranged warriors, so you have all your fields covered if you just want to like spam oops all warriors. And then you've got enhancements for the prime and everything. They're pretty cool. You got one that this is just any Tyranid model actually. It says a unit is able to declare a charge and turn in advance. That's pretty good if you're doing like a big buff melee guy.
Oh yeah,
come right on in. This one kind of stuck out to me as being very neat. If you want to go into warriors,
yeah, I like that. We're to my last loser, and it is the suddenly fairly hamstrung Adeptus Sororitas. Righteous Purpose. In your command phase, you can discard up to 3 of your miracle dice. For each discarded, you can select one Adeptus Sororitas unit from your army until the start of your next command phase. That unit is righteous. While a unit is righteous, add 1 to the move, add 1 to the leadership, improve the weapons and ballistic skill. For Sister Squad, Saint Saints, Paragon Warsuits, by 1. And, yeah, and then there's some other little keyword adjustments. Okay, so here's the deal with this. This one is in my loser bracket because it absolutely was written when, before the balanced data slate took half of their miracle dice away and the generation of them. All right? So before, I don't even remember how many they had. They had a bunch of miracle dice. And now, I believe they're down to 6. And, yeah. If you discard 3 to buff 3 units on turn 1, then you now are you're all out of sweets, as they say.
Yeah.
So this one is a little bit unusable given the state of the army rule, and that's a shame, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think. Look, the Sisters of Battle and the Aldari had the same kind of thing, where they could have this pool of dice that allowed them to skip an entire chunk of the hit, wound, save sequence. And that cannot be balanced for. I think the jury is back. The fact that the Aldari Codex is doing away with it, the Sisters Codex should have done away with it as well. But I guess nobody noticed, probably because Aldari were kind of the big monster of the initial index with that it's like, well, we got bigger fish to fry. We got to sort out what to do about these Aldari. And then the Sisters Codex came out, and it's like, well, it's busted too for the same reason. And, constant points hikes on everything in Aldari and in Sisters, and nothing fixes the fact that you can just say, at this crucial moment, I succeed automatically. Like, that is a fundamentally game-breaking lever to allow people to pull in a game that is theoretically controlled by some amount of chance. And that's a shame, because it's like, I don't see Sisters being super like holistically functional, possibly for the rest of the edition because of that. Like the army rule has been gutted because it probably needs to be, but then the codex is already out, and all those detachments were supposed to work with that army rule as it was, but now they can't because you don't have, it's just a bit of a shame. I don't know. You know what? The army rule is 1 page. What would happen if? It's a sidebar on 1 page, right? What would happen if they just gave everybody a new downloadable army rule? I guess you'd have to change all the detachments. Perhaps there's some sort of way. I don't know, but it probably needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason we know that it needs to be is because they're doing it with Aldari. It's like, well, we can't have this. This is silly. But that's my number one loser, is the Sisters detachment that clearly was written before the Nerf hammer came through.
Yeah.
What do you got? Biggest winner of the Grotmas release.
Biggest winner, chicken dinner, is Creations of Bile for Chaos Space Marines.
Oh, it's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, this is we've seen something similar back with Creations of Bile in was it 9th or 8th edition? You weren't around for 8th edition.
No, but I think there was Creations of Bile was in 9th.
Psychic Awakening, I think. Yeah, Psychic Awakening, I think, introduced the Creations of Bile. But we have, at the start of battle, you can select augmentations for your Heretic Astartes unit. Until the end of the battle, these are like little upgrades, and you can either pick from the list or roll 2d6 to randomly attach to the units.
Yeah, and if you have Fabius Bile as your warlord, you get to re-roll those if you don't like them.
Yeah, which is pretty good.
And it's just for infantry.
Yeah.
But it's awesome. I mean, look, I love how world leaders have got like that rollable table thing. I love a rollable table. It's the Dungeons and Dragons fan in me. Anytime there's a detachment that has got some randomness to it, I think that's fun.
Yeah, I mean, they got stuff like add to the attack characteristic, add movement, improve weapon skill, toughness, strength, ballistic skill. They cover every stat you could think of, and just like picking these on things you definitely want to have these things is good. But if you want like an all-rounders, you can just like roll for these and get 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean, imagine you took 6 obliterators and then you just made sure to either roll 2 and re-roll and just try to make sure you got add movement, so you have fast-moving obliterators. That'd be funny.
What's an obliterator's ballistic skill?
3.
Or yeah, just give them a 6 automatically. Just improve ballistic skill by 1. Now they're hitting on 2s.
Yeah, that's pretty good with their flesh metal cannons and whatnot. It's just fun. It's exactly what it says it is, and it's funny. I mean, I guess they gave us so many detachments of the Chaos Space Marine Codex. Listen to our last pod for my favorite thing that happened in 40K in 2024. It was Codex Space Marine Codex coming out, or Chaos Space Marine Codex coming out. Yeah, I mean, we're eating good over in Chaos Land. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, like you were saying, this is definitely, if you want to go all in on Chaos Space Marine infantry, this is the list for you, because you won't get any bonuses for anything else. So if you mainly want boots on the ground guys getting souped up on drugs and surgery, this is for you. Yeah,
because all the enhancements are that way too. It's like we're going to put this on a character, and now he's super fast or whatever the heck. They've got all kinds of things. It's great, and then of course you still have sustained and lethal, because that's the army rule, which is a quite elegant army rule. I feel like
you just can't lose.
Can't lose. You can embarrassingly fall to the dark gods right as you're about to try to make your last ditch attack. So that happens sometimes. Yeah. Life comes at you fast in Chaos.
How are we looking on time? Because I had one more thing I thought I'd like to add.
Go ahead, Columbo.
So this just now came out today, but the miniatures of the year for Warhammer have been revealed, the votes.
I have thoughts on that.
We could just go through the top of each category if we want to, rather than just like digging, because they have the top 10.
So I think that would take time, and I would have to look it up to see them. And then
I just do the top.
Well,
top of each category.
And then I'm going to want to talk about the paint jobs at length, so we'll be here an hour. But can I just say, I don't believe that list is made out of votes.
No, I don't. I think some of it's kind of pushed.
I think it is. I think it is a. What is it? It's not a scam because we're not gaining or losing anything.
It's an advertisement.
It's an advertisement. It's totally false. There's no way some of that stuff is on those lists. They've just come up with the stuff that they want to put pretty pictures on, I believe.
I do like that the 40K miniature of the year is 10 miniatures.
You know what? That one might have been voted for. That Night Lord's kill team does look sick.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see some Reddit may have mobilized to get that done, but there's some other stuff on that list. You know what? Maybe next week we'll go down it real quick in like a main topic B or something, and talk about the inconsistencies that list feels like it is.
Yeah.
And we can talk about some good paint jobs. But that has been Austin. I am Shane. Let us know what Grotmas Detachment you got, which one you wish you'd got, how you feel about what you got for Grotmas. Down in the comments, like, subscribe, rate us 5 stars. Stay fanatical, folks. See ya.